Hey there, Abby from Abbi Kirsten Collections here, and today we're going to be making this DIY paper Christmas wreath. The supplies you're going to need for this project is a wreath foam base. You'll want to have a Cricut machine or a similar cutting machine. You'll need cardstock paper in various colors. You'll need a hot glue gun. You'll need ribbon to wrap the foam wreath base in, and then you'll need these templates if you would like to follow along exactly, which you can find in the Abbi Kirsten Craft Vault, and it is linked below for your convenience. So I am going to be using my Cricut machine here to cut out my flower templates, but you could use the PDF printables as well with scissors. If you need guidance on how to upload an SVG file to cut these templates out with your Cricut machine, I have a separate video below for you that can help with that. Again, you can find these templates linked below if you would like to use them. I'm cutting out all of my 65-pound cardstock here on my Cricut machine. So that is my preferred cardstock, is 65-pound weighted cardstock, and you'll just want to cut them out in your choice colors. So red, whites or pinks for the poinsettias, and greens for the leaves. So here I have what is my Paper Blooms shaping mat and tool set, and to create these poinsettias, I'm adding a little bit of veining and ridging to each of the petals. Now this part's completely optional, you can completely skip this if you wish to, but it really adds a lot of extra life to it. So if you're into paper flowers like me, you might want to check this tool out. I'm going to link it below for you. So here's a close-up look, and then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to curl each one of these petals. I'm using my tool here to do this, but you could use like a pencil or a spare glue stick, and you just want to curl each of the petals to give it a little life. Then you're going to want to place this back either on the mat or use your fingers and roll the center and kind of get those petals to stand up a little. And then you want to repeat that with all of your poinsettia petal layers. So again, I just add the ridging, which is optional, and then we're going to curl the petals, and then we're going to kind of elevate those petals and bring them up a little bit. You can use your fingers for this part, or you can use that Paper Bloom shaping mat and tool set. To build your poinsettia, you're going to want to start with the largest piece first at the bottom, and then take the next largest piece and add some hot glue to the center of it. Then you want to place one petal layer on top of the other, and you just want to make sure you're alternating the petal points here. So see how the layer that I placed on top, its petals are falling between the layer beneath it. And you'll basically repeat this until you run out of your petal layers. So for my poinsettia here, there is a total of 5 petal layers, but if you feel 4 works better for you or 6 works better, that's perfectly fine as well. There's no right or wrong way to create your poinsettia here, just have fun with it. 5 is generally what I do, but sometimes I'll occasionally stop at 4 because I'll feel like maybe it just, I want to add some variation, or it just looks a little better for that particular flower and how it came together. So don't be afraid to try that as well. I do prefer to use hot glue for this part, but if you have another glue you would like to use that you generally use with paper crafting, that's completely fine as well. Okay, so here's what our poinsettia looks like. And then you have some options for the center. You could, add some little gemstones. You could just create even smaller centerpiece and scale it on in Design Space and then add something else in there to fill that center up. Or you could do what I do here, and I use these little 3D pearls. They work really well for the center, and I feel like it gives it a nice, elegant approach, which is what I'm looking for here. But don't be afraid to try out different centers. I've done many different poinsettias over the years. You can find lots more of my poinsettia designs, and you'll see that I've tested many different centers out. So you would just repeat this with however many poinsettias you wish to put onto your particular wreath design. So once I have poinsettias and leaves cut out and prepped, then we want to move on to prepping the wreath base here, and I'm just going to be using a green ribbon for this just to cover up that base. The green is going to complement the green leaves that are going on top of it, and I'm just starting at one side with my ribbon here, and I'm wrapping this foam wreath base. You can find this foam wreath base online at craft stores, they'll carry them. And then you can do, of course, whatever color ribbon you prefer. So just wrap that around and secure it with hot glue once you reach the end of your ribbon going around your wreath form there. My daughter picked this ribbon out, and it is very sparkly, and it is leaving glitter all over my desk, as you can see. But sometimes you've just got to embrace the sparkle. Now, I've already got all of my leaves cut out in cardstock. I did various shades of green here, so you'll just want to cut all those out. I recommend scaling them to various sizes. So don't be afraid to change the size, play around with the sizing of your greenery for your wreath. There's no, again, right or wrong way to do this, and I like to use a variety of shades. There's not a lot of prep you have to do for these. I just like to fold them down the center a little bit, just using my fingers to give them a little bit more life. You could use that Paper Bloom shaping mat and tool set if you're super patient and you want to add a lot of detail to your wreath. I'm not going to do that for time's sake, but you could absolutely do that. So once I have some leaves prepped here, I'm going to start gluing those directly onto my wreath base. Pick a direction for your leaves and kind of keep them all facing that same direction. So notice how all of my leaves are pointing kind of in a diagonal up and away from me in this video here. So you want to make sure everything's kind of flowing in the same direction. And if you're using different shades of green like I am, then just kind of mix those up as you go along. But don't worry, you can always go back in and tuck in different colors and fill the wreath up that much more. You'll kind of do an initial base of greenery, and then you'll go in and we'll be adding details and more greenery and tucking things in as you go. This part does take some time, but the result is well worth it. And of course, you can reuse this wreath year after year, so it will serve you for a long time. I'm just going to jump forward here to when I have my wreath covered in all of my greenery. And you can see here I started to also add some of the mistletoe sprigs and the berries. You could cut the berries out in whatever colors you would like. I've done gold and red here because I wanted to add some of that pretty contrast. And again, notice how my berries are going around in the similar direction of my greenery and my leaves there. So just go ahead and tuck these in among your leaves and just work until you reach this point with your particular wreath. Everybody's wreath is going to turn out unique to them, so feel free to have fun with it, play around with it, and make it your own. Okay, so now that I've got all of that greenery on there, I've positioned all of my poinsettias that I created where I want them to go. Once I'm happy with their position, I go back and I glue them down. It's a good idea to kind of place things first to get a visual to make sure it's going to look the way you want after you've glued it down. So I recommend placing and then gluing the poinsettias after you're sure of your placement. You can go all around the wreath like this, or you could just do some sort of in a cluster at the bottom of the wreath or at the top of the wreath, or however you want to do it. Again, just make it your own. It's a lot of fun. And I do very bright Christmas colors because that's what I enjoy, but you could absolutely choose paper that is a little bit more traditional with those more earthy tone Christmas colors as well, if that's your style. All right, so you could stop right here. You could keep adding more details, add some more of those berry and mistle sprigs. I found these cute little sparkly white balls that look kind of like little snowballs, and they came in different sizes. I got these at my craft store, and I just took them off of the garland that they came on, and I decided to place them around because I wanted a little pop of white to break up all of that color, but it also complements the white pearls in the center. So it kind of pulls the design together cohesively. And I really liked the look. But again, whatever your particular wreath comes together as, be creative. Maybe you're choosing different colors and you find something else that works better for you, then go ahead and try it out on the wreath. So here's how my wreath turned out. I would use this with either like a command hook or a wreath hanger on my door. I would hang this up inside because it is paper, so make sure that you are keeping it where the climate is controlled. Indoors is best, but you can enjoy this year after year, and I hope you liked this tutorial. You can go and download the templates to make this wreath yourself. The link is below this video for you. It is in the Abbi Kirsten Craft Vault. And here is a look at a slightly different composition with the poinsettias on the side, so you can see that you can really change things up and make it your own. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope to see you on AbbiKirstenCollections.com. Bye for now.